Hi, I'm Sheilaa Hite, world-class astrologer, tarot master, spellcaster, medium, and all-around magical being. And I'm here today to talk to you about this week's astrology. This is going to be a very impactful week. Busy, impactful, comings and goings, openings and closings, signs changing, our planets changing signs of new moon, eclipse. A lot is happening. So let us start with the theme for this week. It is the same as a couple of weeks ago and even more so, and its theme is endings and beginnings. There are major transitions this week. There are profound endings and beginnings and openings and closings. So let's see how that translates into your life, and for how you're going to work best this week. On Thursday, the planet Venus, the planet of relationships, the planet of women, the planet of cooperation, the planet of money, the planet of value, especially self-value, the planet of healing. Venus leaves the sign of Aries. It's gone into the sign of Aries, and it's going to re-enter the sign of Pisces. Well, what does that mean? That means that the very aggressive, assertive way of looking at things, valuing things, being in relationship with anything and anyone, including yourself, is going to shift into a more inward experience, going to shift into finding out what is so for you as the basic core of you is. So, it is important that you appreciate your sensitivity, that you have compassion for yourself as well as for others. And it's also important that you understand that visions are not necessarily true. And by that I mean, with Venus going into, which is creativity, going into Pisces, which is another form of creativity, but a form of rather wispy, dreamy creativity, that Venus is going to be telling you what is, and it may not actually be. So what you want to do is be aware that what you see and think may not be exactly what's going on. So don't sign any pieces of paper. Keep yourself really clear about where you are. Be centered and be grounded. And this is a good week for ankle weights. Literally, wear the ankle weights. On Sunday, we have two things happening: the solar eclipse and the new moon. So this is a great thing. This is our first new moon of the new season. We're in spring. And the solar eclipse is very interesting, and I've got notes here. I'm going to read about them. The solar eclipse, all eclipses, first of all, are about endings or beginnings. Solar eclipses are about beginnings. New things are coming. Something new is going to come to you, whether it's a person, a situation, an object, or realization. But some new beginning will be available to you. So just be aware that new and fresh is definitely up for you. Be aware of that, be looking out for it, and be willing and ready to receive it. Both the sun and the moon, and that is what makes a new moon, when the moon and the sun are in the same sign. Both the sun and the moon are in an intense relationship with the planet Uranus. The planet Uranus is the planet of the revolutionary, of rebellion, of the genius, of divine insight, and of terrific destruction. So with the sun and the moon both in an intense relationship with Uranus, please listen to your intuition. It's really important, because Uranus is the planet of divine insight, and the moon is the planet of intuition. Be audaciously authentic. Enough of being the person who fits in. Be yourself. And please be courageously willing to rebel against the stagnant status quo. Courageously. It takes courage sometimes to just color outside the lines. And that's what you're being asked to do now. Color outside the lines. So the planet Uranus insists that we move on from old behaviors, old attitudes, old relationships, and traditions that we've held on to because of what we're used to, and therefore these old things that we're holding on to because we're used to them, We have come to believe falsely that we are safe. Let go. With the planet Uranus, it's important to use grounding, centering techniques like meditation or keeping your favorite small crystal with you, or both, because nervous energy is going to run high, and nervous energy often leads to erratic behavior, and erratic behavior leads to all kinds of mishaps, and that can all be avoided if you remember to remain centered. A really good thing to do is to remember to breathe. Most people forget or get just enough air in to keep from fainting. Breathe. So now, the next thing that we're going to look forward to is Mercury, the planet of how we communicate, how we get our thoughts from one person to another. The planet Mercury is going to leave the sign Aries. A lot of things are in Aries now, and they're going back to Pisces, and Mercury is one of them. So instead of that straightforward, hot-headed, just move on, let's do it way of thinking, the planet Mercury is going to move back to dreamy, intuitive, fantasy-oriented Pisces. So what you want to do is be aware that everything that you see and you hear is not necessarily happening here on solid planet Earth. However, it's a very good idea to take notes about your dreams, about what you see or think you see, about what you hear or think you hear, because in that, all of that, there are messages. And when the planet Mercury starts moving forward, because right now it's retrograde, when it starts moving forward again and it gets back into Aries, you can then start looking at that list and you'll find some real gems there. You'll find things that you can make something of. So don't discount what's happening because something is going backwards and it's going into a sign it was in before. Make use of it. Simply take notes and be ready to move when the time is right. Then on Sunday, we have the planet Neptune. Neptune is an interesting planet. It's there, but is it really there? Neptune rules spirituality. Neptune rules the fog. Neptune rules haze. And it rules creativity. Neptune rules all kinds of wonderful things that we know are there, but we're not quite sure. So what you want with Neptune, especially, let's go back to, since it rules the feet, let's go back to ankle weights. You want something to keep you on solid ground. So when Neptune has entered into the sign of Aries. So if I misspoke before, I apologize for that. Neptune has left Pisces after God knows how long and has gone into the sign of Aries. It's going to flirt with, via a retrograde, a little bit later, flirt with Pisces again, but basically it's Aries bound. This is a time of, because Aries rules adventures, discoveries, this is a time of spiritual adventures, of new spiritual gurus and spiritual disciplines. And by that I mean various new people with new/old ideas are going to come forward, and you'll be tempted to join and to play with them. Be very careful with that, though. This is also a time of bold liars. It's a time of saviors and con artists. So bold liars and con artists, well, we can pretty much look at the news and see how that's working out. Saviors, we need to save ourselves. And we can also pretty much look at the news and see that some very courageous, maybe 4 or 5 of them, very courageous people are showing up to speak truth and to offer to save the situation. I say take advantage of it, speak your truth, remember authentic audacity, and go for it. So the most important thing to remember is that Neptune is the planet of the spirit, of compassion, of creativity, of mystics, of illusion, delusion, and fog. Actual physical fog, mind fog, emotion fog. In the sign Aries, the planet Neptune will prompt us to take positive action to make the world a better place. Or it'll prompt some people to fight simply for the sake of fighting. It'll prompt some people to lie for the sake of lying. You have to be very clear about what's real and what isn't before you initiate any action. So slow down. Be willing to slow down. If you think, oh, I'll miss my boat or my plane if I slow down, let it go. There will be another one. Better to not have to clean up some horrendous mistake than to get to the plane on time and realize what you've left in your wake. And a question I'd like to ask you to think about is Neptune in the sign of Aries. This is the first time that Neptune will be in Aries since 1861. And I ask you to ask yourself, what happened to the U.S. in 1861? So that's a little quiz for you. Find out what happened to the U.S. in 1861. Look at how the planet Neptune has re-entered the sign Aries. And look at what could possibly happen with all of the energy, the celestial energy, the energy that we have here on planet Earth, and prepare to speak and live your truth. So at this point, I say bye for now. And I'm also going to remind you, I almost forgot, moon water, new moon water. And if you want to know about moon water and how to make it, I'll be more than happy to send you the recipe. If you send me a private message, just DM me, and you will be able to receive the recipe for making moon water. And I would also like to say, especially during these intense times, these intense trying times, a couple of things. The couple of things are, be bold, that's one. And the other one is this quote, I am only one, but I am one. I cannot do everything, but I can do something. And I will not let what I cannot do stop me from doing what I can do. Bye.